righty. Hey, everyone. We are back for another week of Faith Conversations here at Vision City Church. So we are excited once again to dive into this conversation about remember we're talking about don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. Talking about community, building community. And if you missed the first part of this, go back and watch that video. And so we are excited to go to part two. And we're going to talk about the fear of community, the fear of community.
Oh, that's a big word.
Yeah, the fear of community. And I remember we always talked about, we was at a church and they used the acronym of fear, FEAR, false evidence appearing real. But a lot of these fears that we're going to talk about, they're very real, but the impact of that is false. Of what you may feel, the outcome of that is false. But the root of that fear is very, very real.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about that. So last week we was talking about the importance of community and how, just to recap on those scriptures that I gave you, Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And then I also gave you, and these are from, if you've been in the church a long time, these are familiar scriptures to you. But if not, Hebrews 10:25, let us not give up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but let us encourage one another. And I don't have to read all of it, but let's not forsake the assembling of ourselves together. You may hear your church say that. That's, we got to do King James Version. But let's not forsake or give up meeting together. In this time with church, churches doing lives and people are not going back to church as they used to because of COVID and what it taught us. So people are opting to do church online or more than coming in. Before, you felt convicted not doing, going into church, but you wake up now, you be like, my church is doing online. I'm tired. I had a long week. I'm gonna watch it online this week. So we're not as convicted as we used to be. And so, because we're finding out that we can connect other ways.
Yes.
But even in that connection, you still need to find some type of community, some healthy community. But some of the fear of community that people have that we're going to talk about are rejection, betrayal, not being able to trust people, and anything else that come out of that. Those are the three we really want to hit. But if something else come out of it, we'll talk about it. But rejection is one. I know I dealt with rejection and or deal with rejection or try to.
I was going to say that.
No, I say that because I acknowledge what it is now.
Okay.
So I know that I have to be mindful of rejection and that I'm not operating or avoiding things because of rejection. And so even though that I'm aware of it, it's not going to rule my life like it used to. So if you're battling with rejection, it doesn't have to be your story forever. It doesn't. You can acknowledge it and say, okay, this is something that is present. Lord, allow me to overcome it and live on top of that. And that doesn't have to be your story forever, because it can be crippling. Because if you're battling with rejection, and we did a video about the spirit of rejection a while back.
Give an example of what that could look like.
And go back and watch that video too to get more information about it. But usually rejection can come from you not feeling wanted. People not pouring into you and dropping you. You wanted more out of the relationship and you're not getting that. A lot of people deal with rejection, abandonment from parents, things of that nature. Even if it was maybe a parent died, some form rejection can even come on that. Self-rejection is a real thing as well. You have rejected yourself. You don't feel as though you're good enough. You're never going to
Wow.
make it. You're not going to achieve that. Everyone around you can be champion you and saying you can go to the moon, but for whatever reason, that doubt, that fear inside of you, you reject your own self, and that can be a hindrance to you moving forward. And so we were talking about being in community, the fear of not being accepted by that group of people is real. And we was talking about life groups, and a lot of churches are doing life groups because they want you to be in a faith community, a healthy faith community. But if you are dealing with church hurt, that is rejection. You have been rejected by probably not the whole church, but maybe someone in the church, mess with. Now I was now listen, I probably some people are looking at this like you're the reason for my church hurt, Mr. Cook, because I was on music ministry, and I had to tell people, no, you can't sing on this ministry right now for whatever reason. Maybe you were tone deaf, maybe you just didn't know how to sing. And I wasn't one of those ones just to put everybody up there. Everybody wasn't a singer. And so I was a firm believer that it's a calling, the ministry. Everyone is called to sing, but everyone is not called to sing in front of a microphone. And so sorry if you were hurt by that, and that was the root of your church hurt. I don't know. No one has ever came to me and said, but I'm just saying things happen in the church, which causes rejection. I don't want to be in community again because I let my heart open. Someone betrayed me. I've had that happen.
That's risky.
I allowed my heart to be shared with somebody, and I told them not to share it in the church, and they shared it anyway to a person that I told them not to specifically share it with, and so I could have easily said, I'm not sharing anything with nobody, and don't you talk about community, because I got hurt. But knowing the truth about community, I was like, I had to fight past that, because I know that God did not create me to do life alone. But it started me on a journey to push past my own rejection. I had a little bit of self-rejection too. But that was on something else. But
you said, sorry.
Hey, man.
Listen, transparent. You said something about how rejection, these weren't your words, but I just got how uncomfortable it is, and how one of the things I've always struggled with as a person who has dealt with rejection, how you respond to it when it comes up, like, I am over this isn't bothering me, but then it comes up like later, and you realize you're still struggling with it. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, why am I still dealing with these emotions? I think it's important, as you're acknowledging what you're feeling and trying to tackle what you're feeling, that you don't dismiss it. Because that can keep you running and avoiding the very thing that you need in community, because you're still running because you're trying to avoid experiencing that again. And that can lead you onto a true crazy cycle. Like, you're just going around and you're getting nowhere. And in the midst of you getting nowhere, you're feeling worse. You're still isolated. You're still by yourself.
Because the product of rejection is isolation. That's the child, because you feel rejected, and even betrayal, because I was like, the story I told you, that's betrayal, right? I told you something not to tell, and you told it anyway, right? So that's betrayal. So now I can't trust no one. So what does that do? That's what we talked about last week. You isolate. You go into a depression because you can't trust nobody. Now you're lonely, all because of rejection. someone betrayed you, and now you're dealing with, I can't trust anyone. So you are going to a life group or you are in the healthy community, but you're fake. You're not real.
So you're fake.
Especially in church. You put the church face on, and everything is good, 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 good. And for appearances, I'm in the group. But you have not let that group into you and to really build a healthy community. And that takes time. Listen,
It does.
Because especially if you're dealing with rejection, betrayal, and you're trying to build trust, it's going to take time. My conversation to you is, know that about yourself. Be honest with yourself about that. Still go in those healthy community spaces and know that and give yourself time, not for an excuse. You have to believe, and you have to tell yourself, I know this is unhealthy. I have to break out of this, and I'm going to give myself time to fully trust. So I'm gonna give a little piece here, a little piece here, a little piece here. That's how you do it. You don't just go in this place where I'm here and that's good enough. No, you have to give a little piece here. You have to give a little piece here. You have to give a little piece here. And because the false thing about this fear of community is that everybody you run into is going to betray you. Everybody that you run into is going to reject you. You can't trust nobody. That is a lie.
And that's what the enemy preys on. Cause it'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go to this group. I'm gonna start working on, I'm gonna go to my life group. But then that thing will settle in. You start to feel scared. Which fear is a natural emotion. It's more so when it rules you that it becomes problematic. Because fear is what cautions us.
Yes.
But when that fear is crippling you and preventing you from being able to break free and experience what it is that God ultimately has for you, because God doesn't want us to live in fear. That's what the enemy's tactics, to keep us stuck, to rob us of purpose, to have us go down the road of depression, to take us deeper into isolation, to take us further away from people who can help us. Because now you're by yourself, and the mask that you've been wearing all this time don't mean nothing because you're by yourself. Now you have to look at yourself and say, oh crap, how did I get here? Because I'm dealing with so much rejection. I've been betrayed. All those things are so valid. And I am the product of wearing a mask. Lord have mercy. My God, I refuse to now. Like, you either take me as I am or don't take me at all. But for years, I would go to church. I would put it on because I felt like that was what I had to do. But I was hurting. They say broke, busted, and disgusted. I was a mess, battling depression, battling rejection, battling betrayal. But nope, I'm not gonna let no one see it. I'm lying to myself. I'm lying to everyone around me. I'm not really building a community. I'm building facades.
Wow.
And facades ain't helping nobody but the enemy, who's like, whoo, she thinks she got communities. She thinks she got friends. These people don't really know you enough to even know to step up. Or to be like, hey, Jay, you something's going on. I had to come to a place where I had to face those things. And when I faced it, that's when I started building community. Because then it turned into, boo, why didn't you call me? Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you? People want to know you're struggling. People want to know that you can, that your story can relate to their story. Don't hold it in to yourself. Because here's the thing, your story is ultimately a testimony, but your story is going to help someone else. Don't keep it all in. Let the community do what it do.
Let it do.
Show up.
Yeah, a scripture came to mind. I was going to pull it up, but then you stopped talking. So,
okay. Oops.
I wanted to give you where it was found, but the Bible says God has not given us a spirit of fear, right? but of love, but of power. So you have the power to break free of that fear. You have the power. God has the power to give you and to help you work through the rejection, the betrayal, the trust issues that you may have with people. So he has given you power. So he has not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, of love. What is love? I believe is what Corinthians 13 that talks about what love is. Love is First Corinthians. Love is patient, it's kind, it's long suffering. It 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 loves what's the I can't think of how it says in the King James, but it a loose translation says it thinks the best of the other person. It bears all. And so when you think about that, battling the rejection, battling the I have to love. I have to look at this as through the eyes of love. I have to be patient with these people. I'm not going to give them my whole heart.
Nope.
I have to slowly. That's why I said step by step, give them a little piece. I'm a hope, and I'm a pray, and I'm a trust that their intentions are good.
Sure.
I'm gonna be kind. I'm not going to look at them wrong. I'm not going to think the worst of them. I believe it also says it thinks the best of the. So I'm not going to think the worst out of this group. So no fear spirit, but of power, of love, and of sound mind, of self-control, a mind that I can regulate my thought. I can have the power to push those negative thoughts out. I have self-control over my mind to push down those thoughts and say, no, I'm going to think the best. And so I thought about that scripture.
2 Timothy.
2 Timothy, thank you for looking it up. I saw you doing it. Thank you, baby.
2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7.
Yes. So it's real important. But yeah, those are some serious issues. And you're right. When we have this fear of again, it is a trick of the enemy. It is a trick of them to play those things back. Is it scary? Yes.
Oh, it's scary.
Is it debilitating? Yes. So that's what I'm saying. You go to those spaces, but you don't have to give all your heart right then and there because you're working through something. And if anyone's pushing you to do so, don't be like, see, that's why I don't want to go. No, that's where that love come in.
Yeah.
They got the best intentions.
Yeah.
Don't look for the reason to run. Look for the reason to stay. Look for the reason to stay.
Child, I was a professional runner.
And we're going to talk next week about the reasons to stay.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the reasons to stay. Why is community important? We kind of talked about it, but we're going to dive into as we end this conversation. Why should we stay? What are you going to get out of it? What are you going to get out of it? We know why you don't want to go. We know why it's happening. We understand the fear of it. But let's talk about the benefits of it next week. All right?
My stomach hurt.
All right. Love y'all. We see you next week.
Love you.
All right. Bye.